Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast, and welcome to the preview show where we look at what's coming up in boxing this week. That's a Nick Ball main event in Liverpool, as well as a matchroom card with Amo Williams over in the States. Subscribe and follow us on all social medias for all good content. Straight into the action. Nick Ball, he is all action, always from the start. And TJ Doheny in an opponent who I thought did a half-decent job against Inoue in his last fight. I'm looking forward to that one.
My twin and one of my favourite fighters back in action.
I thought we were going to have an exclusive Nick Ball today, but I just had to rub my eyes and it was Ben.
Yeah, it does get like that sometimes.
I'm just
he's a great fighter,
version.
isn't he? Yes. Well, even shorter than...
Yeah, can you get shorter than Nick Ball?
Apparently so.
You can.
It's a great fighter, isn't it? It's a great fight.
He's so good to watch. He's a fan-friendly fighter to watch, and just his style. I think it's going to be... Doheny's going to come and he's been a bit sort of mouthy in the lead up, and there's been a bit of back and forth between the two of them, so he's definitely going to come and give some back towards Nick Ball, I think. So I think it'll make for a very interesting fight to watch, and I don't think it'll go the distance.
Ball's coming in as well, hot, after that performance against Ronnie Rios, mind. You know, Rios down 3 times in that fight.
Yeah.
What was it, the 3rd, 7th and 10th? And it was a good job that I think that his corner threw the towel in, because he was only going one way. It was one-way traffic in that fight. And yeah, this should be a test for Ball again. But how many times have we said that about Nick Ball having tests? You know, Ray Vargas was a test, and we all thought he got through that and he won. He obviously, what was that, a draw? And then against Raymond Ford, he just proved that he is at that level, and he's at that top of this division. And you know, this fight on Saturday night is that sort of fight where you look at it and you think, right, this is one more fight in his hometown, and then he's going to pick up another belt after this. You know,
yeah, you'd think
defend it twice and then get another one at the back end of the year, and you know, potentially you could go over to Saudi Arabia and fight for it. But it's a tough fight. TJ Doheny, I have to put my teeth back in. He put up a very good performance against Inoue. You know, obviously he got stopped in the 7th, but still, you know, to go that far with a monster like Inoue, pardon the pun, but it should be an interesting fight. And I do think Nick Ball is up there with some of the best in that division, and I think Saturday night he will prove again by doing what he does and win. I'll save my predictions till the end, but I think he's gonna win and just put a statement out there again.
I'd love to see Nick Ball against Luis Neri.
Yeah, it'd be a good fight. The one I want is Angelo Leo, I think the IBF champ, because he got a huge knockout in his last fight.
Do you think they're building towards trying to get him that in a way fight, or do you think that's not something they're interested in?
I don't know. I think it does. I think it does interest him. Certainly, it wouldn't. Wouldn't it interest to fight someone like that? Really, if you're a proper fighter, you want to fight all the best.
Think of the payday as well. If you got to fight,
there is that as well.
That's the bonus. That's what's the attraction for it.
And I think
Nick Ball in a way in Liverpool.
Oh, it'd be nice.
Anfield.
It would be great. I don't think it sells Anfield.
I think
big old stadium. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think it's telling we haven't had any fights in Anfield, because it's a difficult one to sell.
He is a Liverpool fan now as well, isn't he, Nick Ball? Let's just make sure we got that
I don't
right.
actually know.
He could be an Everton fan then.
Because it's Everton Red Triangle's the gym, isn't it? So it's in Everton. I don't know, to be honest. But he's certainly from Liverpool. I'm
pretty sure he is a Liverpool fan.
You know, I'm sure it'll be a good fight. That new Everton stadium looks pretty tidy either way. But Nick Ball, this is what... there's some fighters that you talk about the fight now and you think, oh, this is a good fight, this is a great fight, whatever. And Nick Ball's the kind of fight you almost want to talk about the next one, because he's just exciting. And we're almost looking past what should be a really good fight. You know, TJ Doheny's an awkward fighter. We saw that against Inoue. He was awkward for a lot of that fight, and Inoue had to work him out, and he did work him out, like he always does. But it is the kind of thing that if you're not on your best and you're not firing in all cylinders, he really could cause you a few issues.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to come lying down. I think he's the type of character, he loves a fight as well, so he'll play very much into the hands of Nick Ball in a way. But he's to go up against in a way, I thought, like you say, he done well in the first couple of rounds before, in a way, as he inevitably does, works you out and starts to sort of pick you apart. But yeah, I think it'll make for a very intriguing fight to watch on Saturday night, and be a good main event, good atmosphere in there as well.
Yeah, I think it should be good, and it's a good arena, that, isn't it? The Echo Arena in Liverpool. They've done a few stuff there, so it should be good. And like we said, I think just off before we start recording it, I think this is the last one on TNT Sports, isn't it?
Yeah, before they move to DAZN.
Before they move to DAZN, which is
who would have thought that Frank Warren was going to move over to an app?
Yeah,
imagine when they announced all that thing of Eddie Hearns leaving Sky, and he was like, "Oh, this is never going to work." Look at him now.
Yeah.
Boxer have signed a new deal with Sky Sports.
They have, So it's all interesting. Speaking of interesting, this is a fight next up on the card that I just don't think is being talked about enough.
Yeah.
As a brilliant domestic clash, Andrew Cain versus Charlie Edwards, British Commonwealth and WBC International silver. It's a great fight, that, isn't it? You know, in terms of Andrew Cain's exciting, he's explosive, he's a great fighter. And then Charlie Edwards has been around for a while now. He knows his way around a ring, and it will be a difficult test for Andrew. It makes for a good fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a real clash of styles, and a sort of powerhouse against a more technically skilled fighter. I've learned not to put any expectations on it, but
go on, say it.
I'm looking forward.
Go on, do it. Say it. Say the line.
I think it'll be the fight of the night.
It's the one to watch. Yeah,
one to watch.
You've got
the one to watch.
One to watch might be a better way.
We're going to be sat here next Monday now, going.
We'll get a FIFA Ultimate Team sponsorship for the one to watch. I think this will be a Foot Heroes kind of matchup. No, it should be the fight of the night on paper, because
either that or Strand and Beluta. Because Beluta is a very tidy fighter,
and he's game. He'll come forwards. That'll be a good fight.
Dennis McCann as well got the draw before the loss, and Dennis McCann is now in a bit of trouble. So
I was going to say, I'm not saying that this is allegedly.
Well,
he got a good result against the juiced up McCann. So.
According to McCann, he's got something coming out soon that will prove his innocence. So
he's going to say that, isn't he?
Lead him back into the ring.
Nothing to do with eggs again.
I'm gutted, because I was really big fan of watching Dennis McCann. I thought
exactly.
And him and Brad Strand were
in that rematch against Beluta, he looked really good. But obviously now, when you hear all these stories, you're like, okay.
Yeah,
that's why maybe.
Well, yeah, allegedly, all of that good stuff. We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, because that Andrew Cain fight is obviously, like we said, going to be a great one over 12 rounds as well.
It's good to see Charlie Edwards back as well, isn't it?
Absolutely,
he's had his issues and problems outside of the ring, and last time out against Thomas Asomba, it was brilliant, the build to that, because it was brother feud, wasn't it? Sonny Edwards is the manager of Asomba.
Yeah, it's like the tutorial of Undisputed, isn't it? Yeah. You do the Sonny versus Charlie Edwards.
But he looked really comfortable in there, and what you wanted from that fight was him to have that opportunity to then go out and have a big fight, and he's got that with Andrew Cain. Andrew Cain is very dangerous, like we said, but Charlie Edwards can cause him some problems, and like Ben said, I think we're going to jinx it now, because I'm going to say it, but this is definitely the one for me to watch as well. I think it's got all the ingredients. It's got, Charlie Edwards, I think, he claimed that European title now. He wants to get that British again. And Andrew Cain is at that level now where you think, why are you still fighting these people? You can easily go up another notch and prove yourself again, and prove yourself to these people that I am what I say I am. But he was meant to be fighting, what was it, Joshua John, and then he decided to fight
some Colombian man that no one had ever heard
I don't want to
of.
Disrespect him as he was fighting a journeyman, but he did really, didn't he? He fought someone that was getting paid to come and to lose, really.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of fight so you don't want to see him in. I'm just happy that he's in a fight now where you're questioning him. Can he actually pull the job off? And this, like we said, definitely looking forward to this.
You forget he lost to Beluta as well.
Yeah. I think what for this one, for me, if Charlie Cain, Jesus Christ,
what footballer is that?
If Charlie Edwards does come through this, particularly because his age, his experience, what he's been through, after you've got a European, British, Commonwealth, WBC silver, it pretty much is that Junto Nakatani fight next, isn't it? That is the fight to be made for him.
No,
and that's a brilliant opportunity for wins that. And if Andrew Cain wins this one, which I'm not going to say he's not going to, but if he does win this one, then you're looking at maybe a few more fights before he's at that level. But Charlie Edwards probably, you would suggest, is ready to go now, you'd think.
It's a quick turnaround as well, now, from like what you said, he was struggling outside of the ring, or whether it was an issue with promoters or wherever else, and his career sort of come to a standstill. We weren't sure whether we were going to see him again. And now, like you said, probably wins this on the weekend. If he does, then he's got a massive fight against Nakatani, who's incredible, but would make for a very good, not only fight, but probably a good payday for Edwards as well if he was to travel over to Japan and take him on.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get on to Brad Strand and Berlanga that we've mentioned a couple of times already now, Javier Herrera, the Cuban fighter, he's a man of few words. I saw an interview recently that he'd done, which there were a few words in English, but the ones he did say shouldn't be repeated online. So it was an interesting one, and he's just exciting, isn't he? And he's interesting, and he comes out in the sort of prison uniform often, and is it a strain jacket? He comes out, I forget which one it is, but it's just. And he bangs as well, doesn't he? He's so un-Cuban in the way he boxes.
Yeah. 14 knockouts in 16 wins.
Yeah,
22 as well.
Exactly, it's mental. When you talk about the Cubans, you talk about technically brilliant boxers, and you talk about these real, the likes of Andy Cruz and stuff, who's had to work quite hard to get out of that Cuban style into a more professional style. This guy came out fit and ready for the professional ranks, and he's spiteful, isn't he? Really spiteful. And for a lightweight, it's a great division to be in, and it's going to be a difficult one to get himself into the position to get those big fights. But
it's a tough old division. Like you look at the top boys of that division, but you could set up some amazing fights with him. Like already, you just look at some of them, and that's one of the most entertaining divisions in boxing, I think. Just because you just look down, even if you just click on BoxRec and you just look down the list of the sort of top 20 fighters that he's mixed in with, there's just so many good fights you can make.
Yeah, like you say, like he sits 19th on BoxRec, and I know BoxRec's not the sort of be all and end all of rankings at the best of times, but the fighters that he's amongst, Andy Cruz, he's above. Frank Martin and Tevin Farmer, he's just below.
Dennis Berinchik,
he's above Dennis Berinchik.
Yeah. These are fighters that have been in fought at the very top and are great fighters, and he's in and amongst that. And you can't help but think at some point soon he's going to be due a big fight against a big opponent and a big chance. And on the big stage, you can't help but think he'll suit that kind of big stage, albeit it'll be one to see. We don't want to rush him ahead, of course, because he is, like you say, he's only young and he's still got this fight to get through. It's not a hugely challenging one, but it's a guy with a fairly comfortable winning record who, like we said with TJ Doheny, if you're not at your absolute best, could be a little banana skin.
And he's a Mexican as well. So he's going to be tough, yeah.
If he can get a stoppage, then he's the real deal.
Yeah, getting a stoppage against a Mexican, they just hand you the world title there. You're like, yeah, fair, you've won, you've done the impossible. But it'd be interesting to see that one. And like you say, Brad Strand, Yannick Berlanga, it's going to be a good fight, isn't it? It just is.
Yeah, very good. Like Berlanga, like he got the win, like we said, against Andrew Cain. Probably could have made an argument that he should have beat Dennis McCann in that first match, and with the added sort of thing of whether there was any performance enhancers with McCann as well, makes it like rises his stock even more. But he's had some big opportunities now, and I think if he could get a win, it's big for the both of them. I think.
Yeah, but
I feel like they both need that win this weekend to sort of kick on to that next step.
But they've both lost to Dennis McCann, haven't they? So this is like the sort of fight now where they can potentially then go and get that next fight. But he looked very good against Marvin Solano, someone that we've seen a lot, obviously down in the Vale, well-travelled journeyman. But it's another good fight on this card. This card's got a lot of depth in it. I think there's a lot of quality in this card, and I think Frank Warren's probably looked at it and said, right, this is our last show on TNT Sports. Let's fill it up with some really good fights. And yeah, it's brilliant. Great to see. And, Brad Strand, Joshua John points he's had, Dennis McCann loss, came back, and like I said, looked very good. And Berlanga is no mug, is he? Am I getting this wrong? Is Berlanga promoted by our friend Dan?
He is, yeah. Voboxing,
yeah.
Managed by Voboxing. So
he's got something about him if Dan's promoting him. So it should be another cracking fight.
Yeah,
and Berlanga's beaten TJ Doheny as well. So
It's weird that how many of the fighters on this card have fought each other, isn't it? It is bizarre that.
I can't wait for that press conference on Thursday when they're all sat next to each other like,
hang on, I beat you.
Yeah.
But you lost to him. Yeah, but he beat him and I've beaten him. Yeah, carnage. But Jack Turner as well, another one on this card, another
big
Liverpool fighter. Big fight, yeah. The guy's a European Commonwealth champ, isn't he?
Commonwealth champ. He fought for a European title. But Jack Turner's, I love watching Jack Turner.
Back-to-back first-round knockouts for him, isn't it?
I think he's had 8 stoppages in the first round.
That's good going out of 10
fights.
That's unreal.
That's unreal. He's not one to spend much time in the ring, but if he could pull off another quick stoppage here, then that's a real statement.
Yeah, so he's gone the distance once over 4 rounds, and then he got a 5th round knockout. And then once, and then other than that, it's entirely first round knockouts.
It was first round stoppage last time as well.
It was, and the time before. So he's not going to be messing around. He's not one to have a sort of feeling out period, is he? He knows, I think, when he gets you hit once, then he can put you out of there, and that's, I imagine, despite the step up in opponent, that's still going to be what he plans to do.
Yeah. Well, if he keeps steamrolling through people, there's only you got to sort of push the levels up at a certain point, I suppose. But if you could beat the former Commonwealth champion, someone who's fought for a European title, that puts you right in the mix here to sort of push for them belts yourself then. Still only ranked 32, but I think a win on Saturday would obviously push him right up the rankings again. I mean, you'd look in towards probably the next fight being your first title fight then, whether they look for something like a British or Commonwealth title fight. But
yeah, probably a British, isn't it?
He's already ranked number 1 in the UK anyway.
Yeah, maybe they walk past that one. I don't know. It's difficult being in the super flyweight division, isn't it? There's not a huge amount of fighters. Yeah, I think the only other there's a few others. Brandon Duard's unbeaten fighter, 11-0. He's the British champion at the moment, which would be a great fight. Don't get me wrong, but you need a test like this one he's having now before you kind of step up to that kind of challenge. And that would be a great fight to make. Another Liverpool-based fighter as well, I think, Brandon. So back-to-back. And I think the guy he's fighting's based in Liverpool, or he's from Liverpool as well. So they've managed to pack this card full of local fighters, which makes them more exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it should be a good atmosphere, and the Liverpool fans always come out for their own.
Yeah.
It's stack. How many fights on it? Was it 12 fights?
Yeah, there's a lot. We're not going to go into all of them.
Former Brown on there as well. Massive heavyweight.
Big boy. There's great...
Stephen Clark's on there as well.
It's just packed full of talent.
Hey, but ain't Jack Turner, he used to be a matchroom fighter, and Stephen Clark used to be a matchroom fighter as well, didn't they?
I can't say I know. You might be right. I think you might be right with Jack Turner, definitely.
I swear Stephen Clark used to...
Quite possibly, yeah.
He's a big ticket seller. That's all I know about him.
Fair enough. Elsewhere in the world, you got Ammo Williams with another comeback fight after, obviously, that loss that he picked up over in Saudi Arabia. Came back and won last time. He's fighting a fighter in the top 10 as well, in Patrice Volney, 19-1. It's a good test, that, isn't it? It's going to be an interesting fight. And it's good to see those kind of top-level fighters back fighting at the top again after a loss.
Yeah, well, I don't think his stock dropped too much there from the Shiraz loss, even though he went into the fight, I think, as a slight favourite. But he showed in the last fight, that 5th round stoppage, showed his talent. I don't think there's any doubt that we'll see him back in amongst sort of world title contention at some point. I think it's just a thing of not rushing him at the minute and building towards that again now. But again, it's another... Just every time we say it every time, but we click on the different weight divisions, and every time you're just like, there's so many good fights who can make it. But again, whether they could possibly push for that Shiraz rematch after he's come off the back of a loss himself.
I think Shiraz is stuck with Adames at the moment, ain't he?
Well, it wasn't a loss, it was a draw. But
yeah, so he's going to have to... It was a loss.
It was a loss. Let's say it quietly, but he did lose.
No, we can say it loudly. It was really, I think... pretty convincingly, and I don't think Shiraz will feel happy with that as a draw. I think he'll feel happy that he got away with one as a draw, but I don't think he'll be happy with it as a draw, and he'll want to kind of come back and right that wrong. So maybe not the fight for now, but like you say, it's the state we're in at the moment. You look at fights and you're already thinking about the next fight because there's stuff going on elsewhere. And another fight coming back as well, Edgar Berlanga, obviously off the back of a big loss to a certain Canelo Alvarez, which is, I suppose
Doesn't
we can
even
let that
count,
slide. Yeah, we can let him off of that.
That's the sort of fight where you just win the lottery, don't you? When you get the opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez, you're never going to say no.
No, and you'd be daft to.
Because he's secured his family's future for years to come now. And yeah, it's good to see him back. I honestly thought he fought the last couple of weeks. When I saw him on the card, I was like, oh my God, he's fighting again. But no, he's the sort of fighter now where you look at the division that he's in. Diego Pacheco, for me, is the fight to make with Edgar Berlanga. I think that's a test now for Pacheco. But Pacheco's at that point in his career that he's like, oh, well, who else is there for me to fight apart from going for the big boys in the division? And I think Edgar Berlanga is that sort of name, that he could potentially fight. But yeah, no,
him and Munguia would be a good fight.
Just good to see him back out again.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, you could do Munguia, Berlanga as the kind of lost to Canelo derby.
But what's with this division? Munguia's got problems with Saras now as well.
Yeah.
Boxing, people need to sort out their issues and, resolve them. But no, it's great to see Berlanga back. He put up a spirited performance, I thought, against Alvarez. I think when you look at all other performances that people have against him, Berlanga obviously was a bit of a shutout performance by Canelo. It's just good to see him back, and hopefully he can reach that limits. And obviously now with this TKO talk, where does this leave Canelo Alvarez and all of his belts? He's fighting for a dispute against William Skull without the belts in the picture. Does that mean then that those belts then fragment down and Edgar Berlanga could get his hands on one of them?
There's a lot of great fighters in there. Christian Billy, Diego Pacheco,
Callum Simpson,
Edgar Berlanga. I'm going to say Callum Simpson and William Skull in himself. There's, because Canelo's got that division on hold, there's a lot of great fights waiting for great opportunities. And like you say, if that is the way that it's going to go, then I don't imagine the WBC, for example, or any of the bodies will be happy you going, we'll let you fight for TKO and then come back and still hold our belts. I wouldn't be surprised if they just strip them of them or give them a mandatory they won't be able to fight with, and then kind of strip them that way. So it'd be interesting to see what that looks like. And I think that puts us into the predictions for this week. Of course, Amari Jones
as well.
Olympic bronze medalist. I'll let you load up the predictions while we talk. But yeah, Amari Jones, bronze medalist, an exciting fighter coming up through.
Wants to be the next Roy Jones Jr., so I think he's definitely one to watch out for this weekend.
Oh, no.
I'm really looking forward to watching.
Another one that you've jinxed.
Yeah.
It's his own words.
One to watch.
It's true. I suppose it is his own words.
Which one are we doing? Williams or Ball?
I think we'll do the Nick Ball card on predictions app. We use the Boxing News app. We're not sponsored by him or anything, but
he worked for him. You write for him.
I write for him. So yeah, we'll give him a bit more.
Have you messaged them about that? We actually use your app. We're the main reason why there's hundreds of people on your app.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll buy that. I'm currently struggling to get it to load.
And let's not diss it now after saying that we want it.
Bear with me. That's not their fault. That's just my Wi-Fi's fault. I think it's Vodafone's fault. Other service providers are available. Right down to the bottom of the card. There's not too many fights on this one. Jack Turner, Ryan Farag, super flyweight 10 rounder. I'll let you start, Ben, and I don't think this is going to be a particularly difficult one to predict, is it?
Jack Turner decision.
Gone decision. I'm going for a Jack Turner finish. I think he will finish him.
Same, yeah. Jack Turner stoppage.
It's going to be a difficult one, but I just, some fights, you got to just push the boat a little bit, not be boring. Hadia Herrera, Jose Macias Enriquez. Hadia Herrera's big fighter, a big puncher, like we mentioned, but he's up against a Mexican, a solid Mexican. Going to go for Herrera points decision.
Herrera stoppage.
I've gone Herrera stoppage as well.
Right, okay. So we're going to get a winner. That's all that matters. Brad Strand, Yonat Baluta, super bantamweight 10-rounder. This one's quite a hard one to predict, I think. What are you going for, Harry?
I knew the one that I'm not too sure on. Obviously, you're going to make me go first.
Are you suggesting that if you hadn't gone first,
I think it's going to be Strand's points decision, but it's going to be very, very close. A round or two in it, I reckon.
I've gone Baluta by decision.
So have I.
Yeah.
I've backed him to cause, I suppose, on paper, a little bit of an upset.
Well, he's in his backyard, ain't he?
Andrew Cain, Charlie Edwards, bantamweight 12-rounder. Ben, I'll let you start off and kick this one off for your fight of the night, one to watch, etc.
I've gone with Charlie Edwards by decision.
I've gone for the same.
I don't know. I do like Charlie Edwards, so yeah, I agree.
Wow.
He's definitely copied it.
definitely copy that. And then the main event, Nick Ball, TJ Doheny. I'm going to start off with my prediction, which is a Nick Ball stoppage.
I think they're 3
stoppage.
3,
Yeah.
Nick Ball stoppage.
Wow, how thrilling.
And there's going to be a fair amount of stoppages on that based off of our predictions, isn't there? So it should be a decent card. Hopefully we get
45 rounds I've gone for.
47.
I've gone 48. Ooh, that's exciting. That's exciting, guys. Yeah, I mean, just again, it's going to be great, though, I must admit, to have Queensberry on DAZN after this one, albeit mostly because I just don't have TNT Sports.
Does the subscription charge change as well now?
Yes.
Does it?
Yeah. Well, mine has.
Still have...
No.
Yours still hasn't changed?
No, I pay more now. I need to phone them up. Need to phone up and moan
How much
again.
you pay more now? Is it £5, 10?
Loads more.
Really?
I don't know, yeah. I need to phone them up and check.
£1.50.
So I'm not best pleased.
I think mine went up. I think I'm paying 120 quid a year now, so it's not too bad. 10 quid a month.
It's like what, one trip to Wingstop for Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call it
Friday. It was 18 quid, wasn't it?
He keeps adding money on. 16 quid.
Next week it'll be 22 quid, and then it'll be 38 quid, and etc. etc. But we're not here to talk about Wingstop. We'll do that in about half hour's time, probably at other food establishments are available. As always, unless they want to sponsor us, in which there will only be one and ever one. So we could do a boxing mukbang or something if anyone's interested.
I would love to do a boxing mukbang.
I'm sure Ben would as well.
That is unbelievable.
I do leave all this in.
And on that bombshell, thank you all for listening, for tuning in for another week, for another preview show.
He knows I won't back down.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Fair enough.
I'll back you, Ben. Don't worry.
We've
got safe distance.
We've done all right, actually. We've lasted quite a long time without trying to start one on each other, start having a fight. It's been a while.
Right, let's turn the cameras off then.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Let me do my outro real quick, and then we'll have a scrap. So yeah, thank you once again for listening. Follow us on all our socials. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Main 3 platforms are also available on all the other things where you think you'll find us. You'll probably be able to find us. So thank you all for tuning in and supporting the channel. We'll catch you next week for another review show of all the fights we just talked about, as well as a preview show as well. Catch you all next week.
Punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.